In Chapter 2, Scene 4 of Life is Strange Double Exposure, you have a major decision to make.
If you have or come by any information about this person or where they've taken the camera, can I trust you to let me know?
You can either agree to help or refuse. And while there aren't as many consequences for this one as some earlier choices that you had to make, this one feels so important. And in my first playthrough, I was like, of course I'm going to pick agree, and then I'm just not going to do it. And I was so upset by the consequences that happened. If I only knew, I would have never done it. So we're going to start with the one I did, agree. Let's take a look at the immediate dialogue after you pick agree.
Sure. Of course. If I notice anything, I'll let you know.
I'm glad to hear it. And I'm sure Dr. Fayed would be grateful as well. Now that is my direct number. No detail is too small to share. You're not bothering me. You're helping your friend's case.
Did you see Moses peeking in and he knew what you said? It doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to do it, you know?
Thanks again for your time, Miss Caulfield. Have a good day.
And notice that Moses doesn't want to talk about it with you. Diverts to his telescope situation.
Moses, I want to show you something.
We don't have to talk about.
Look.
But the fact that he says that, keep that in mind for later. And Max feels the exact same way that I did, because in the next scene, when you're able to look at Max's journal entry about the whole situation, she's going to say this. Alderman casually assigned blame or strongly hinted at it when Moses had nothing to do with Safi's death. I only said I'd help him to get him off his case, but I don't know if Moses knows that. God, I hope Moses knows that. I know, but he doesn't. We don't know each other much outside of Safi. I don't want him to think I'm someone who would rat him out just because it suits me. And he does, and you're gonna see that next.
Are you okay?
When you meet Moses in the darkroom later on, he's not going to be too happy, and Max can sense it.
I've been better.
He doesn't trust you, Max, but you can respond in two ways. Alderman didn't give me a choice.
I didn't have the option not to cooperate, Moses. Not really. I had to say something.
Yeah, you did. And chose to say yes.
Or, which is what I was thinking all along, I'm not actually going to cooperate.
I apologize for what I said to that detective. You have to know I wasn't being serious. I was only trying to...
Take the easy way? It's nice when you have that option. You know what? It's fine. It's fine.
And then regardless of the choice you made here, Max will try to change the subject.
Hey, look. Maybe seeing Safi again will help clear the air.
Now, going back to that dialogue choice, if you picked, I'm not actually going to cooperate, you can earn an achievement here. Be great, do crime. It's a secret achievement where you committed the crimes. Now, early guides said that this is the only thing you needed to do in order to get that achievement. However, that didn't make sense to me because it says committed the crimes, plural. And so I believe you also have to do some other crimes, such as stealing the bowling alley mascot.
I could never resist a deal.
But some people in comments said that the achievement did pop after they picked the bowling alley mascot. So I think that confirms it. What's not confirmed is if you have to do anything else, like maybe a third or a fourth thing. But all I'm trying to say, if you pick, I'm not going to cooperate, that contributes to this achievement, at the least. Still in the same scene, once the thing gets figured out that I'm hoping you already know about, and you're not watching this before playing the whole game because it's going to ruin the game for you.
It's Photoshop! A deepfake, maybe. I don't know.
When Moses is afraid, he backs away and he realizes, oh my gosh.
You sold me out to Alderman. You were covering for yourself.
No, Moses.
Oh, it's so bad. I hate it. And by choosing agree in the results screen on page 3 in the Alderman section, it's of course going to say agree, but also that Alderman is pleased that you cooperated. It doesn't say anything about Moses, though, but we know He's not pleased. But speaking of Alderman, I love these consequences here. They're kind of fun. In chapter 3, scene 1, where he pays a rude, unexpected visit, just walks in.
Can I come in?
I mean, you kind of let him, but that's not the point. Your conversation changes a bit because you chose agree. He's going to think that you're cooperating with him in general.
I have some questions for you.
If you choose what do you want to know and you picked agree, he's going to kind of expect that.
Of course, I can answer your questions right here.
I knew you'd be a valuable resource.
But if you chose get out, he's going to be like, whoa, okay, all right.
Hey, what the fuck, man? You can't just barge in here.
See, here I was thinking you agreed to help me out.
And of course, Max has something to say and needs to write about it in her journal. The second paragraph, this small little line, is different if you chose agree. I never should have taken that card. And because Alderman, as Max says in the notes app, gets yeeted from existence, there aren't that many more consequences here because the only people affected were him and Moses, except for this last small little thing. I could not believe I caught this. In chapter 5, at the very last scene when Max is giving her speech, she talks about making choices.
I'm not proud of every decision I made.
And Moses' response will be like this if you agreed. Oh, it breaks my heart. It's like, even though you've been through all of this, he still has feelings about you agreeing. Oh, Moses, I'm sorry I did this to you only on my first playthrough. I swear, all the other 30 playthroughs I did, I only picked refuse. Speaking of refuse, let's look at all the consequences for that choice now, starting with the immediate dialogue.
No.
Okay, Miss Caulfield. I hope you don't actually have information. Because, withholding it could get you into trouble.
Now, unlike agree, you actually can talk more with Alderman here and respond in 2 ways. What kind of trouble?
What kind of trouble?
Well, depending on the information, we could be talking obstruction. But I'm sure we're not in that kind of situation.
Or thank you for your concern.
Thank you for your concern, Detective. I'll keep that in mind.
And then regardless of which one of those you chose, it will continue the same way.
That's everything. I believe I'm free to go, right?
Yes. You are. Thanks again for your time, Miss Caulfield. Have a good day.
Notice here that Moses doesn't say anything to you. He hasn't lost trust in your new friendship. And he just is quickly confused about his telescope, right?
Oh shit.
Moses, wait.
And sure, he's upset about the situation, but he's not directing that at Max. He's upset about the situation as a whole and then diverts to his telescope. He's not we don't need to talk about it situation. So then Max will, of course, write about it, and you can see her journal entry in the next scene. Alderman clearly anticipated backup in his investigation, and I wasn't going to be the one to help him. And if he hoped to drive a wedge between me and Moses by asking for my help, then he only ended up making our bond stronger. Yeah. He seems like he's used to things going his way. He tried to act nonchalant, but I could tell he was annoyed. I wish he'd focus on figuring out what happened to Safi instead of playing mind games.
Are you okay?
And because Moses trusts you a little bit more when you're in the dark room with him in chapter 2, scene 5, you can maybe talk about his feelings a little bit.
No. I will be. I think.
And then you could say, anything I can do?
If there's something I can do, name it. You've been through a lot. We all have.
Thanks, Max. But I feel like you've already done plenty.
Yeah, there's not really much you can do about this situation, Max. But you can also say, want to talk about it?
I'm here if you need to vent.
I lose one of my closest friends. And when I should be processing my grief, I'm being interrogated by this. Appreciate you standing up to him.
My pleasure. You didn't need to deal with any of that. Not then, Not ever.
And then regardless of that choice, Max will try to change the subject again, but this time it's a little bit lighter than if you chose agree and he's upset with you.
How about we see if Safi's selfie skills are better than mine?
Somehow I doubt it.
But that changes temporarily coming up when the reveal happens and there's that thing that you see on the computer with the photo. You know, gosh, I really hope you've played this game already.
It's Photoshop! A deepfake, maybe. I don't know.
This time, instead of Moses thinking that Max is like working to frame him with Alderman, he doesn't mention Alderman at all, but he's still, you know, obviously not thinking great things about Max at this point. I mean, how could you?
So this is why you went and got the camera?
No, Moses.
And in page 3 of chapter 2's results screen, you're going to obviously see refuse here, but also that Alderman is irritated with your lack of cooperation. He will remember this. Doesn't say anything about Moses here either, but we know, which we'll see, that he's a little bit more pleased with you. But then when Alderman shows up in chapter 3, scene 1,
I have some questions for you.
he already thinks that you're refusing help. So if you pick get out, which is more refusing.
Hey, what the fuck, man? You can't just barge in here.
But who's barging? I'm just paying a visit to Caledon University's artist in residence. Can a guy appreciate high art?
But if you picked what do you want to know, he's a little bit surprised.
Of course. I can answer your questions right here.
Well, this is a nice change of pace since yesterday. I appreciate the cooperation.
He's such a smug little ass. And once, you know, Max has time to write in her journal, in the next scene, you'll be able to look at it. It sounds like she has a little bit of doubt about refusing. Maybe if I pretended I was on his team, he wouldn't have busted in here like that. But I doubt it. You're right, Max, because he busts in there no matter what. So you did the right thing. But in the very last scene, during Max's speech, talking about choices,
I'm not proud of every decision I made.
Moses will look like this. I mean, so much better than putting his head down, right? He's not thinking about that poor agree decision. I've really, really worked hard at trying to compare so many different playthroughs. I think I'm at 34 playthroughs at this point, and I haven't seen any other differences except the ones that I showed here. It just doesn't feel like enough, though. So if you have any others, make sure to share them with me here in the comments because I want to know. And also, subscribe for more. I'll see you next time. Bye.